episode is brought to you by Cashflow Collective, helping Aussie business owners bring clarity, consistency, and confidence to their business finances. With expert guidance and a supportive community behind you, you don't have to figure it all out alone. Head to the show notes to find out more. The information shared in this podcast is general in nature and is intended for educational purposes only. It does not take into account your personal circumstances and should not be relied upon as financial or tax advice. For advice specific to your situation, please speak with a qualified professional. Welcome to Aussie Bookkeeping Basics, the podcast that helps Australian small business owners understand their numbers without the jargon. Okay, welcome to Aussie Bookkeeping Basics. So today we're going to talk about, do you actually need a bookkeeper? This could be quite controversial, but it's not meant to be. I'm simply trying to help you make decisions based on your own needs and what works for you and your business. So, do you DIY or do you get a bookkeeper? Some people might say DIY is the place to be. Some people might say getting a bookkeeper, that's the right place to be. I say, what's your situation and your context? My recommendation is that doing it yourself works really well when it's a simple business and when the business owner is yourself is ready, willing, and has the time to learn. So I put some little kind of caveats around that. The reason why, when I say simple business, I mean it doesn't have lots and lots of moving parts. It's very often service-based business owners can easily do their own bookkeeping because their bookkeeping is more straightforward in terms of they do the work, they issue the invoice, they get paid. And that's one, potentially larger transaction. If you also have integrations that are working quite well for you, it's quite possible for you to do your own bookkeeping as well. But again, it really comes down to not necessarily your business, but the business owner themselves. So that's you. Are you willing to learn? Are you keen to know how to do it well? And also, do you have the time? Because some people, they're willing to learn, but they want to learn all of the things. And so they really don't have the time to learn a whole other stack of things. So in some ways, they're probably better off getting some support in the form of a bookkeeper. So support helps when you're time poor, right? If you're a business owner, you know this, right? Business owners are traditionally time poor people. We've got to wear all of the hats and get none of the perks, right? No, no, you get lots of the perks too, but it's being a business owner is not for the faint of heart, may I say. It is certainly a bigger undertaking than what we often realize at first. So often, if you're time poor and you don't have the time or the capacity to invest in actually doing it and doing it properly, then quite honestly, you're probably better off engaging with a bookkeeper. However, that can take many forms, right? Engaging with a bookkeeper doesn't necessarily mean an all or nothing approach. Support from a bookkeeper also helps when you're unsure or you're second guessing things. So, for example, one of the previous episodes I talked about was, guessing your categorisation, right? Trying to just make a stab in the dark about where you're going to record this one, where this transaction belongs, which category. If you're doing that kind of stuff, honestly, reach out for support, hey? And again, swinging back to that, their middle ground exists. It's that concept of guided support, right? So as a bookkeeper, and I've been offering done-for-you bookkeeping services for many years, and before that, I worked in administration and was more or less doing bookkeeping as well as a host of other administrative tasks. But in that journey of doing people's bookkeeping for them, for their businesses, I have had a range of different clients from a range of different industries. And I don't think there's ever been two clients who have done the exact same stuff for. So case in point, I'm currently at capacity with my bookkeeping services done for you. But I do have some good connections that I could send your way if you're needing to reach out for support. So get in touch if that's you. But for example, two clients I've had recently, one, I literally log in weekly and send out invoices. Like that's what I do for them, right? I don't do the matching up in their bank feeds of the transactions of the payments. I just do the invoicing, sending out. And that's fine. Like that's our agreement. And that's where they found for them, that's where the bottleneck was, right? For other clients, they're more than happy to do their own invoicing. And in fact, they find that easy. Good on them. Not everyone finds that part easy. Not necessarily from a technical perspective, but from a mindset perspective. But others find that matching payments, particularly when it's those weird ones where you got underpaid by a cent, or, a client paid too much and then they had to hold it in credit, or, things like that. It's so strange, right? Often I find that's a really big bottleneck for clients. So that's often a big reason why people have gotten in touch with me over the years. And also there's there's another category as well where people mostly do their day-to-day bookkeeping by themselves. But then they come in and they have my BAS Buddy service where I just check over their BAS. Like they do all the data entry, they reconcile to their bank accounts, they chase up the invoices, that kind of stuff. But then before BAS comes, but before they submit their BAS, they actually say, "Hey, Deb, can you come take a look and then submit this BAS for me?" So I go and I do my little checks, my dotting I's and crossing T's. And I have a bit of a strategy about doing that, which, is just the way I do things. And then I submit it for them. And that gives them the confidence, right? So engaging with a bookkeeper doesn't necessarily mean an all or nothing approach, right? I highly recommend finding someone who you vibe with. So as in someone who operates similarly to you, has a similar mindset, I guess, is what I would say. And it also understands your business, right? So if you're in the NDIS space, you really want to have someone who gets NDIS because that's a whole thing in itself. If you're a trainee, you want someone who understands the nature of tradies and the fact that you might get a bunch of materials that aren't just for one job, right? You don't go out and go, okay, I'm going to go and get the materials for the Smith job today. Like it's not how that works. It's like you'll buy a bunch of stuff and you'll use it probably for multiple jobs. Things like that, right? Another one that's another specialist kind of area is that real estate bookkeeping, or like legal trust account bookkeeping. You want to engage with someone who sees you and your business for who you are and understands the way that you do things, and also understands the legislative requirements that you have to adhere to. That's another really important step too. So, do you actually need a bookkeeper? Could be a combination of DIY, getting support, and that support, honestly, guided support is where it's at, right? That's that sweet spot where you're getting enough help with the things that you find challenging, whether that's challenging on a skills basis or on a mental barrier basis. But it also gives you the confidence, right? So you want to engage with a bookkeeper to be able to support your decision making, right? To be able to help you get confidence and have confidence, right? For some people, doing their own books with the right support works beautifully, right? And for others, outsourcing makes more sense. But really, it's about finding what works for you. If you do like the sound of the middle option of doing your own books with real guidance, support, and community, then I invite you to check out my Cashflow Collective. It's a supportive membership for Aussie business owners who want to feel more confident with their bookkeeping and business finances without feeling alone or overwhelmed. Inside, you'll get practical guidance, accountability, co-working sessions, and a community of business owners all working towards the same goal: understanding their numbers and building financially healthier businesses. It's designed to help you stay consistent, ask questions as you go, and finally feel clearer and calmer around your money stuff. If that sounds like what you need, or you would like more info about Cashflow Collective, head to the link in the description of this episode, and I'll be right here for the next episode of Aussie Bookkeeping Basics. Thanks so much for spending this time with me. If you'd like to keep learning together, please hit follow and stay connected through the Aussie Bookkeeping Basics podcast. I'll see you in the next episode.